We are previewing the Missouri Valley Conference game of the week as the Missouri State Bears at 9-6 on the season are at the Belmont Bruins 7-10 on the year. And it'll be Friday from Nashville, Tennessee in the Curb Events Center at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN Plus, and joined with Missouri State head coach Beth Cunningham and Belmont coach Bart Brooks. And Coach Cunningham, I want to start with you. In your first season here, we've got two tradition-rich programs battling for the first time as Missouri Valley Conference opponents. What have you enjoyed the most about your first 9 months at a program with so much history and then leading them into this new era with 12 Valley schools?
Yeah, it's been great so far. As a coach at this point, you never feel like there's enough time in the day, especially when you're taking over a program, one that's obviously had a lot of tradition of success and has played really, really well over the years and played a really high standard and won a lot of championships. And but I think this year is a very different year from what it has been in recent years, just in that we only had 5 players coming back. We were a team in previous years that was old, very mature, a lot of experience, the kids that had played 5 and 6 years here. So, you understand taking over, there's going to be an adjustment period when you're losing that kind of experience and leadership and quality players that we had here. And so we've tried to be as efficient as possible in building our roster. When I got the job in April, had 5 players coming back, supplementing with the transfer portal and trying to build a team and fill needs that we thought could help us be competitive, obviously, for this year and maintain a standard of excellence that they've had here. But you're trying to expedite things as much as you're trying to be patient and teach. You're trying to expedite, that as much as possible. But it's been good. It's been a great experience. I mean, one of the things that really drew me to Missouri State was just the support that's here. From our president to our athletic director to the community to the fan base. It's one of the best, and so that's something that's been important. And certainly I've always heard a lot about it, but really until you're here and in the community every day and in our arena and understanding that Lady Bear basketball is a really important part of this community and is really a big deal, and the support we get is second to none. So it's something that I've really enjoyed, I've appreciated, and it's been fun to be a part of.
Well, year one got off to a good start for you, a win over TCU. Also coming up on Friday, Sydney Wilson just 3 points away from her 1,000th career point. So that's a lot of fun to keep an eye on for Lady Bears fans. Coach Brooks, part of a Bruins program that's now used to winning conference championships. What's your evaluation less than 1 month into Missouri Valley Conference play of the new conference?
Well, I love it. It's been as a coach and a competitor, I think having the opportunity to play against such really sharp coaches every night that that their team they're going to be well prepared. The talent, the depth of the conference, I think is a huge difference for us from where we're coming from. And the challenge has been exciting for us in our program, and just looking, you look ahead, there's a lot of arenas and places that we haven't been that will be first time trips for us. And I'm glad the Iowa trip's out of the way, because January Iowa, February, Iowa, it's cold up there. And a lot of our kids, the first time a couple of them had seen snow. So it's like a pretty wild deal for some of our kids. But it's been a really, really exciting and kind of energizing first stretch for me as a coach, just with all the good teams we get to play against. And it's helped me. It's challenging me and pushing me to be a better coach for sure.
Well, and your Bruins have faced a very challenging non-conference schedule as well, something both your teams have done this season to help prepare you for Valley play. Bart, let's stay with you. It should be a fun point guard matchup with your Destiny Wells and Missouri State's Anaya Thomas. I'm gonna have you talk about Anaya Thomas. What does she do that makes her so hard to stop?
Well, she's just does a lot of things really well, and you watch her, and the more I've watched her, it's not pleasant watching her play, because it's nice watching her play when you're just enjoying watching a good player. But when you're trying to figure out how to guard a good player, it becomes miserable quickly. And I think what makes her unique is this: I think she's got a burst and an athleticism that is really difficult. It's really difficult to stay in front of her, but she can make you pay from the 3-point line as well. So she's a dynamic player who has the ability to beat you in a lot of different places. And I think when she gets out in transition, she's really good. And, just watching, I'm trying to find a hole in her game that we can exploit. And I've got more work to do. I haven't found it yet. But she's a heck of a player. And I think the reason why they've been so good is just her ability to be dynamic from that point guard spot. And that's a big challenge for us. That'll be a challenge for us on Friday.
They had a big game against Southern Illinois, 25 points, 10 assists for the Lady Bears. She's averaged about 14 points a game, has 72 assists on the year. And Beth, I want to ask you about a point guard that got 72 assists on the year, and that's Belmont's Destiny Wells. Averages 16 a game. Her 7th 20-point game of the year came against the Redbirds, which she scored 21. What do you see in Destiny Wells that you guys will face on Friday?
Well, she's a handful. Probably similar sentiments as, Bart's worried about Nia. I'm worried about her, and I think, I've heard a lot about her over the years, obviously not having been in the conference, and obviously had a tremendous season, a year ago, and now being in the conference and really being able to watch, knew the type of player, but now this week, really spending time and really having to dig in and dive into film, definitely concerning. I think she does so many things for them. She's obviously a great scorer, very efficient from the 3-point line, by far leads the team in assists, so can certainly play make. She's a handful in every sense of the word. So certainly have a lot of concerns, and just her style of play and the things they do, and seems to just have a really good feel for the game, have a really good IQ, and understand what they're trying to do. She's somebody that I'm certainly worried about, and I think is obviously a huge key for them and for their success.
Well, Beth, let's talk post players now. Sophomore Kennedy Taylor at 6'3", averaging 12 points, 8 rebounds a game, double doubles against Southern Illinois and Bradley. Where do you see her making the largest impact on your team so far this year?
Well, she just gives us, an inside presence that's different from anybody else, really on our team. And, she obviously transferred from Colorado, really didn't play last year. So in essence, coming in, she's really like a freshman. And so she still had a pretty big learning curve. I still feel like her best days are ahead of her, but fortunately, things have started to click for her, especially in, the last month or so, the last 2 months. That she's just she's learned how and where she can score. I think she's gained a lot of confidence from that. She's done a great job just playing with the motor. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I've stressed to her. Like, she's got all the physical attributes. It's just, is initially getting her to play with a constant motor, because with her size, she can be a tough matchup for people. And so I'm just proud of the way that I've been really, really hard on her. I'm proud of the way that she's really continued to grow and develop and embrace the coaching, and embrace it. And it's started clicking for her. And so I think things are starting to make sense of, potentially, how she really changes us, but she's done a great job. It's tough to consistently put up the numbers she has. And, for her to have been pretty consistent in the last, month or so since we started conference play, or, since the TCU game, I'm probably just most proud of her consistency, but she just has to continue to keep it up, because she's a difference maker for us, really on both ends of the floor, scoring and defensively, but then especially, on the boards as well.
It's going to be fun seeing her in action and seeing her go against Madison Bartley. Coach Brooks, talk about Bartley, proving that she's also a force inside. What have you seen from her this season that maybe you haven't seen in the past?
I think Kennedy just got 4 offensive rebounds during Beth's talk. Good. Yeah, no, we do not look forward to seeing her on Friday. Madison, I think Madison has been a huge key to our success in the last couple of years, just with her ability to score the ball from every spot on the floor. And then she still has size to give us a presence that we haven't really had in this program consistently. With that level of size to be able to compete with the big guys. And so she is this year, I think there's been inconsistency from her that has been something we were working through, and she's worked extremely hard, and she's put in a lot to being a better player, a more efficient player. But there's a consistency factor that we're working through. But man, when she's good, she's really good. And we're just trying to figure out a way to get that good to happen every night. And there's not a better human being on planet Earth. She's going to be an elementary school teacher. Children love her. And she's just an awesome kid to work with every day.
That's fantastic. We've got time to talk coaching influences here. So let's work in some Doug Bruno and Muffet McGraw chat. Coach Brooks, 11 years under Doug Bruno at DePaul. What did your time with Doug maybe best prepare you for as a head coach?
Well, I don't know that anything really prepared me for what I was going to be dealing with as a head coach, but seeing him every day, the consistency with which he ran his program for 11 years. I mean, we went to 11 straight NCAA tournaments, which is very difficult to do. Even that list was very small, I think, but when we left, there was, I think, 6 or 7 programs in the country that had done that. And just the consistency with which our program was run and how he handled winning and how he handled losing. And it was a really cool thing looking back. I wish I would have paid more attention to some of the things that would help me now as an assistant. I think there's always things that you miss when you're an assistant coach that, looking back, you're like, man, that was an amazing job that he did that you didn't realize it at the time. And some of the things that we weathered as a program and still remained consistently good. And that was really to me, the biggest. I still look at him. I'm like, how in the world is he still doing this and doing it well? And so I've got nothing but respect for Coach Bruno, and it was like a coaching clinic for 11 years.
Beth, 8 seasons under Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame. You played for Coach, helped her win her 300th career game and first trip to the Final Four. How much of her attitude or style do you see come out in yourself?
That's probably a better question for somebody else to see what similarities. But no, I think just more than anything, obviously he's had a huge influence on me as a player, and then, as a coach, to be able to go back and coach alongside her. And, you're speaking of Doug Bruno, but, in very much the same light that, there's very few coaches, first of all, who have been able to stay at one institution for as long as they have, and that speaks volumes. But there's very few coaches that are able to be successful in a generation that I was playing in, and still into just her retiring a couple years ago. And you look at Doug, has been successful for so long. And so I think probably the biggest thing that there's a lot of things that I've taken from her, obviously all the X's and O's, and, try to steal as much as possible and all those types of things. But I think probably, one thing that it's hard to kind of really put your finger on, but that I really learned from her going back, besides all the obvious things, is just how she was able to just adapt, adjust, and kind of change as things went from year to year, from generation to generation, from kid to kid, and just the balance that she had with that. And so I think it really kind of gave me a little bit of a different, perspective, seeing her, in a different light. Being able to just adjust and change and be adaptable. And so much of our coaching profession is, just, you've got to be successful, handling different kids, different ways of doing things, being able to adapt, adjust, all those things as you run a program, on a daily basis, year to year basis, and, in plural years, so I think more than anything, just seeing her do that, and, but at the same time, has just was just always first class with everything that she did. You know, that's one thing that never changed, is just the integrity in which she did things, just how she went about everything, just being first class. And so, you know, I think probably just taking a little bit of everything. But there are days where, you know, as a young coach, when I was at VCU, how I handled that situation, you know, a certain situation, maybe back then as a young coach, then now handling it today, just knowing, just giving me a different viewpoint. And so I think that's certainly been something that's helped. And, you know, you just have to be adaptable, I think, to be successful in this business.
Well, coaching underneath two legendary head coaches, you guys now running a couple of fantastic basketball programs. Thanks a lot for your time. We're looking forward to this Friday evening matchup. The winners in the top half of the Valley standings. It's our MVC game of the week. Missouri State at Belmont, Friday from Nashville, Tennessee, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time. Join us on ESPN Plus.